Start the episode then. We'll cut the episode in now, and I'll just say, Zach, thank you for coming and doing the 14th Swapcast episode. Episode 140. It wasn't too long ago that we did our episode, so you might be the fastest person to ever do an episode and then come back for a Swapcast, all right? So I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate
thanks for having me on, bro.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's been a great start to the day, eh?
Yeah, great
like,
start. Great
church,
start.
bro. Hit the zone.
Me forgetting my laptop, driving 2 hours. But it's a good day.
Mad shit.
It's a good day. Yeah.
So,
that was a good church. Sorry to cut you off, bro. It was a good church this morning. Really good church, you know? I was thinking about the message the whole way here. And I was thinking to myself, like, God will give me everything I want. I just have 100%. To be willing to work for it. You know what I mean?
For sure, bro.
Yeah.
For sure. I actually had this realization this morning how full circle this is. Remember how last time we were talking about how I saw my vision was the blue lighting and that was a level I wanted to get to. And then it was only 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Is that how long ago? Yeah.
A month, maybe month and a half.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me, in 6 months I'll come to Queensland and I'll catch up with you then. We'll run up round 2 or something. And a month and a half later, we're not in your house, we're in my fucking house. How the fuck, bro?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Dude, that moment, actually, when you said to me on the podcast, dude, I manifested this and I told myself I'm going to be here and I'm fucking here. Yeah. It was one of the powerfulest moments I've heard on the podcast so far. I've thought about that so much ever since then. I'm like, fuck, it's so true. He did it. He did it.
It's what I live by, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, you said, 6 months we'll hit up round 2. And I sort of envisioned that, but I didn't realize it would happen so fast.
Yeah.
And it's I didn't know I'd get onto your podcast the first time so quick either.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show if you work hard for your dreams, you can do anything possible, you know?
And that's exactly what the message was about today as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was saying it's a promise.
Yeah.
You will get it.
And no matter how hard it is, show joy.
Yeah.
Be happy with the process.
Yeah. That's something I've been trying to do lately, actually. I've been trying really hard in tough moments to be grateful for them. Yep. So when I'm doing my gratitude every morning and every night, I say, I'm grateful for the challenges today, even though they sucked. I'm like, thank you for these challenges. I'm grateful that everything sucks. I can't wait to find out why.
Made you who you are, eh?
Yeah.
There was, on topics about church, last time there was a guest speaker. They talked about this thing where, say you're stuck in a rut, and most people feel like they're going backwards. They talked about a thing called rethink. So rethink the pause. So you feel like you've paused in life and you're going nowhere, nothing's coming into your life. And it's you've got to unlearn what you already know and reteach yourself new ways. And that's how you get out of that zone, is to learn something new or discover something you've never seen before. That was a cool topic too.
Yeah, that is a cool topic. It's crazy the topics that can come up too. And I kind of get that. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit stagnant, I think to myself, why am I feeling stagnant? It's usually because you haven't thought of something new. Yep. You know, you're stuck in the same system, stuck in the same cycle. And I'm wondering, why isn't she getting better?
Yeah, bro. And trusting the process, eh?
Yeah. I hear you say that a lot. So I haven't spent too much time with you. Total time's probably been maybe now 4 or 5 hours in total, maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
But I've noticed you're always saying things like, trust the process. Even on FaceTime, you're just trust. It's not meant to happen. It's not meant to happen, bro.
Yeah,
just
that's
trust
it.
the process.
Yeah.
You even said it about the guest that we were trying to organise for the other day. You said, it's not meant to be.
Not meant to be, bro. Yeah. Just go with it, eh?
He's right.
I feel like if you force it, it's not meant to be either. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been going to that church for long?
Well, probably about 6 to 8 times, I reckon.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We went and tried a different church and it was just not it.
Yeah.
You know, it just didn't feel homely. And I said, I can't wait to get back to the other one. Even the songs, just uplifting.
Yeah.
They actually did something at a stadium with all the same churches and they had a whole stadium packed out.
Wow.
Yeah. Really incredible.
When I was younger, I went to church from 14 to 15 maybe. And I didn't go again until January, I think, this year, or December last year.
Yeah.
And I used to go to these conferences that were put on by the church, and they'd sell out Acker Stadium.
Yep.
There'd be 100,000 people sometimes at these conferences. I'm thinking, how is it this many people? I didn't know there was even that many Christians.
I was like thinking it would be more powerful with more people there. Mm-hmm. But then like I just had this realization that maybe just being on your own is just as powerful. Because like when I'm in church, I shut my eyes and I try and hear a voice or a word. And I've come to the understanding that if I hear a language that's not my own, like you know how you talk to yourself in your head and it's your own language, if I hear words that aren't me, that's when I know it's a power higher than myself. And it's overwhelming, eh?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, yes, I heard it.
That's a great analyzation, bro.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
cool. I usually take a notepad when I can, like on my diary, and I'll write down, like they're talking, and I'll just listen to however I hear it. Like, you know what I mean? Like he might be saying something about one thing, but then I'll interpretate it a different way, and that's how I identify that voice. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, so it's not what I heard, but it's still what I heard.
You
know
like
what I
hear
mean?
the message within the message.
Yeah. A friend taught me the word for that. It's called steganography. Steganography is the word.
I'm not even going to try and think about that, bro.
It's the message hitting within the message.
Yeah. That's cool, bro.
Yeah, it is cool.
So I was going to do a set list of stuff to talk about. And what I realized is, like I've already learned this before, but you know, over time you lose track of what you do learn. You have to relearn. So I was writing down a list over the last week or two when I got told I was going to be in charge of this potty. And, you know, I had ideas, but it didn't feel right. And then I realized that I wasn't dialed in to my daily habits, my routine. I was sleeping in, eating shit. And then once I got dialed in, that's when you get the gifts of ideas and, you know, thoughts, like light bulb moments. Mm-hmm. So like I'm not even going to check anything, bro. Like I had so much realizations just yesterday at the barber, like in a high frequency, and I was like, fuck yeah, like let's go hard. One thing I was walking to the coffee shop, and I realized that when I came back from Sydney, I was back in an environment that wasn't fresh. So like it'd be similar to going to a high-class beach or something, you know. And when I was in Sydney, even like rough suburbs felt fresh, just the surrounding. And then being back here, I sort of lost track of where I was at. My routine went out of whack, and it was hard to stay in that zone, bro. Because like when you're in a surrounding that's fresh, you're like, go, go, go. Everything feels great. Mm-hmm. The people, places, things. So I just wanted to talk about surroundings for a little bit. Mm-hmm. We can cover a few different topics, but like for a start, like people, like over time since you've started your journey, bringing the podcast up, obviously you've had successful people in all different walks of life on your show. But as opposed to on a personal level, like who you grew up with, your close friends, like did you find, like for me, I had to let go or distance myself from certain people that I was outgrowing. Do you find that's happened to you, bro?
Yeah, it's a good question, by the way. Great question. I think more recently than ever, I've really noticed it.
Yeah.
Like I've always taken a bit of a ego and a pride sense where it's like people say you have to get rid of the people around you in order to get to the next level if they're holding you down. And I hate listening to authority. So whenever I hear something, I'm always like, nah, not true. You know what I mean? So I was holding on to it, but I recently realized that it's not like you have to let go of people. If you want something enough, you won't want to hang out with those people anymore, you know? And that was when I realized I got to make the choice for myself instead of being told it was something I had to do, then it became a lot easier. And I have at least distanced myself from a lot of people as opposed to cutting people out. I've never really cut anyone out, but it's like, and it's weird because I'm almost going back to only hanging out with people from when I was a kid again, like kid.
Yeah, okay.
Like before the influences of substances and temptations and anything like that. Now I'm kind of getting back drawn to high school friends, like early, like
your
year
roots.
7, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's been cool. And to be honest, pretty much my circle at the moment. It's just
Yeah.
like 3 people, 2 people.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That's mad.
But back in December, if I was to have people over, I'd probably invite 40, 50 people over. Now, if I was to have people over, I might invite 3, 2. You know?
Yeah.
And
Keep it small.
it's just because even though I'm getting a lot of interesting people in my life and I'm having a lot of connections with people, and I still got people I can reach out to and have a conversation with and catch up with, my routine is just work, train, church. Like that's all I want to do. Work, train, church. So if you're not
cool,
here
bro.
to do one of those, it's like, what else are we going to do?
Yeah, bro.
It's even like that with girls. Like if I say, what do you want to do? And they say, you don't have dinner. I'm like, I don't really want to go out for dinner. And I'm like, what do you want to do? You can either come to the gym or you can come to church.
I saw your gym video the other day, bro.
Oh, yeah,
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
Surely that goes viral, eh?
yeah. It did. The people in my life, they enjoyed that one. It didn't get too much traction, but like everyone around me loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next topic based on surroundings is places.
Yeah.
Like I came back from New South Wales. I was back in my, basic still environment with people that were going nowhere. And it was up to me to make it fresh in my own way, or at least trust that I'd be back on a level, somewhere fresh, like the Gold Coast even, compared to a suburb, North Brizzy.
Yeah.
And that would make me refresh my mindset. But like surroundings for you, like for me, I don't hang around, barbecues where there's a lot of drinking, people that just feel stuck. I've had to separate myself from all them surroundings. Just, negative stuff, bro. Like, have you had to change your surroundings?
Yeah, and it's kind of like that's a good point, because it's the reason why I've stopped associating with people. It's because I've stopped myself with the surroundings. Like, I don't enjoy spending time at the pub anymore, even though I do enjoy spending time at the pub. I don't enjoy the feeling of being there and wanting to gamble and drink and all these things, and then I don't enjoy. Well, it feels like wasting my time. I really, really hate wasting my time. So if I'm going to someone's house, and if the boys are listening to this, I apologise, but let's just use a hypothetical example like an Australia Day, where I would typically go to the same house every Australia Day. I found that this time going there felt like a waste of time. And I love the people, and I don't want to stop being mates with the people. But when everyone's drunk from the moment I get there to the moment I'm over it, it's like, what am I doing here? I'm wasting my time. I'm having the same conversation with this guy 3 times in a row. He doesn't even realise it.
Bro.
You know what I mean? But up until recently, like I would still be going to every hotel bender till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. I would still be there. I'd be the only sober person. And to keep my fidgets good, I'd clean. I'd just constantly clean. I'd just constantly just like, I don't know, look inside the cupboards every fucking 10 minutes. I'd find something to do. And I'd be having a good conversation with people. But when the conversation starts to get repetitive and like, I feel like I'm not having a conscious conversation with someone anymore, that is my time to leave. So now I'm kind of just bypassing what I know I'm going to feel like at the end of that 6 a.m. session, which is like, I wasted my time. Instead, I'm just not going anymore. So I'm kind of removing myself from the scenarios and surroundings. But it sounds like you have something very similar to me, and that's that you need a fresh, exciting introduction into the world. You know what I mean? You need something new. You need something like, what's the next quote? What's the next movie, book? What's the next thing? And it's kind of, from doing the podcast, I've noticed it's what people with addictive personality have. Like they want more, you know,
bro.
which is a good thing. That's a conqueror. Someone who wants to just set the seas and take that country too. You know? That's a good trait. And I find that Jordan Peterson talks about it in his book. It's like, you can't have no chaos in your life. You have to have a bit of chaos. And chaos to me is that new thing, that new place, that new city, that new town, that new friend. And then you can't have no order either. You have to have, I wake up and I have a cold shower. I have to train today. You have to have a mixture between chaos and order. And the balance between those two things is the thing that I'm always trying to do. So it's like, it's a very good book, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And that's the first chapter, the balance between chaos and order, you know? But I'm the same. I'm like, if I'm doing my same routine for 5 days, I'm like, Saturday has to be something good. You know what I mean? Like, get me out of this routine.
Bro, for sure.
Yeah.
When it all changed for me, like I experienced successful people, and like we went out to dinner. I may have spoken about it after Jackson's funeral, and there was like chilling it, like a few other big boys. They all do different things, but all we talked about was inspiration stuff, motivation. There was no gossip. There was no drama. There was no like, dad jokes. It was just, we were happy. We were talking about each other and being proud of each other, but we weren't talking about shit that was just on a level. It was like, what's next? What's in the future? What are we working towards? And I've never experienced anything like it. So once I did, I was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do with myself. This is what I envisioned for myself. And just getting a taste of it made me hungry, bro. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And that's a good surrounding, to surround yourself with people who are aiming higher. And I've got people in my life that are working towards greatness. Like there's a lot of good people in my life. Everyone's working towards their own version of greatness. Some people want to be great business owners in this field. Some people want to be great. I guess everyone wants to be great at finance in some way or another, whether you want to make your money in trade or crypto or investing or whatever you want to make your money doing. Everyone's got a different want. But I find that those conversations are a bit rare in my life. There's not many because like I don't know yet what my want is. I just know I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I want to be great. I want to be this. But then my mate will be talking about investing in this thing. I'm thinking, I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? Like, that's boring to me.
Yeah, invest yourself away, but like, don't even bring it up.
Yeah,
bro.
But yeah, that would have been a cool dinner. And I've thought about that story you told me about being a part of that dinner. And it would have been a nice change. And especially not hearing gossip. I hate whenever anyone's gossiping around me. My first reaction is always the same, which is, oh yeah, tell me more. Tell me more. But then when someone starts bad mouthing someone and being like condescending, like this guy's a loser or this girl's this, then I'm like, okay, this is a different type of frequency than I need.
See, like I talk about people when they're doing well.
Yeah.
When it's like something awesome that they've achieved, because I'm like, fuck, that's something to learn from. But if people are talking about like, who's doing what and it's just unmotivating, I'm like, it's because they're not living. That's what I've noticed. I used to do the same thing, and it was like a way to pass time, like talk about everyone else. And like I said on another podcast, you're either in the game or you're watching from the sideline. And I feel like whoever's watching from the sideline, that's where the gossip is. The ones competing, they're talking about what's next, like what they're doing, bro.
Analogy, bro.
It's fucking sick, and that's what I live by now. I'm like, I'm in the game every day. I wake up. And like you were saying, you're still figuring out your why. I think that's one thing I'm lucky I've already realised, because when life gets tough, like when I came back from Sydney and life just felt harder to be motivated because of my surroundings, it was hard to stay dialed in. But one time I was dialed in for a week or 2 weeks, and I heard from you and it was like, bang, opportunity. And I was like, this is what it's about.
Yeah.
And like my vision, I can't spill the beans too much because it's an idea that could be stolen. But it's massive,
but you told me about it off camera. I'm aware of it, and it is a powerful thing, and it's about helping. As well,
that's it.
Which is the most important part about it as well.
And that keeps me going.
Yeah. And it's like I am working on it a lot lately. I have been journaling a lot. I've been trying to work out, especially in the time off that I've had recently. I've been trying to work out who, what, when, where, why. They're my main questions I'm asking myself. So first it was like who. So I'd ask myself every question to do with who. Who am I? Who am I doing it for? Who do I want to be? Who do I think I am? Who do other people perceive me as? Who do I want to go there with? All these questions. And then at the end of it, I just got to the conclusion. It's like, who do I want to do it with? The answer for that, for example, would be like, whoever wants to do it with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could say my wife in the future, but if she doesn't want to do it, I don't want to do it with her. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could say my best mate now, but if he doesn't want to do it in 10 years, I don't want to do it with him either.
Yeah, that's it. Like when I was thinking about what you're doing with your podcast, like you've done over 100 episodes, And I was thinking about circles. What you've already created is something not many people have done, bro. The people that you've had on your show, incredible. All different walks of life, all different walks of success, journeys. And I was thinking to myself, in my circle, I've got probably 5 people. One of the biggest people is Sean French. But that's my circle. As opposed to connections, I've probably only got them 5, but they've got their connections. So it's a good base.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about you and that red paperclip thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You've had 100 people on your show, bro,
Yeah, 100
of all different walks of success.
Yeah, and there's been probably 125 now.
Imagine what you could do with them connections, brother.
It's a great
You know
point.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah.
It's hectic, bro.
Yeah. And that's it is a great point. And I think I came to a similar realization to it. And content is like my next wave I want to get into. So I'm trying to hit up people and be like, yo, you told me you're a fighter, for example. Can you, and I've had a few kickbox champions on now, and I'm like, take me for a day training camp. Whatever you do for a day, I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
And then from that, just experience what that's life's like. And I got a mate who's a personal investigator. He's going to take me on a personal investigation and, catch things like that. And that's what I'm going to try and do with my network. I think because to be honest, bro, I just love spending time with people, getting to know people, hanging out, talking shit. That's why podcasting's the best for me.
Yeah, bro.
It's no better thing for me.
So the next step would probably be living it.
Yeah,
like
living
other people's lives, not just experiencing a chat.
Yeah.
That's a cool vision, bro. I love that. I can see it.
Yeah, so there's been a couple. Like I went through, I did a breathwork class recently. You ever done a breathwork class?
It's part of my program, bro.
Oh, real? Yeah, mad. Nah, so I did my first one with a guest who told me he runs a breathwork seminar and does a bit of Reiki healing and things like that.
Yep.
And I went and experienced what it was like to be a part of it. Eye-opening, to say the least.
Did you do somatic?
This one was like a 9D one where you have like sensory.
Trauma-based.
Yeah, trauma-based one, which was cool.
Did you go out of your body?
I had a really crazy moment in it, right? Yeah. So because I used to do a lot of drugs when I was younger, right? There's plenty of those stories. So there's been plenty of late nights where I've been reflecting, talking to my mum about experiences without going into too much detail. And she told me about the closest out-of-body experience she ever had when she was giving birth to me. And she said that she was puffing on this green stick, whatever it was they give you when you're pregnant. And she felt like she left her body and was on the other side of the room watching herself give birth in the moment, giving birth to me.
Hectic.
And in my experience going through my memory and reflection process, I was thinking about my parents and how they met and all these stories. I felt like I left my body and I entered the room in which I was getting born as the vision that my mum explained to me of me being born. Bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was wild, bro.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck is this,
See,
bro?
that's like out of body, bro, because you're in another dimension.
Yeah.
I've experienced it a few times in my life. One of them, I was like in psychosis. Yeah, one time I was in psychosis and I was behind myself watching myself choke in the mirror, bro. Like whack. And I was fully paralyzed. But breath work.
Yeah.
The first time I spoke to my 12-year-old self and he forgave me.
Wow.
Which I've never been able to forgive myself for everything I've done, which was mind-blowing. I feel like I let so much go. And then the second time, I was like connecting with God, you'd say. And I felt him, like heard him say, feel the strength. And my mate recorded it, the coach. And my whole hand just went bang. And I couldn't undo it.
Wow.
And it got to a point where I was breathing so intensely and it just, my whole arm seized up and my feet started curling back. And I was like, it's starting to hurt. It's starting to hurt. And he had to like shake my body out, bro. And literally grab my fingers and peel them off my shirt, bro. It was fucking hectic.
That's crazy, bro. I love that stuff, hey.
It was so cool. I was like, no one's going to understand.
Unless they've gone through it, then they'll understand. Like, you say it to me, I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you're like, fuck yeah.
That's why, and it's like, I'll never preach to anyone that they have to believe in God, but that's like, to me, I've had that many experiences that are like that, that I just can't not believe it. It'd be crazy not to believe it. There was another time I was wrestling with the idea, and I was just challenging it, like, prove yourself, you know what I mean? Like, I can't prove it.
Yep.
And I started to like lose my vision.
Okay.
And like I couldn't hear I couldn't see. It was starting to go black and black, and I was walking home, and I couldn't see anything anymore. And I was like, okay. And then my vision came back, and I was like, yeah, that was maybe a coincidence, but maybe
You're
it's
like,
not
do it
true.
again.
Maybe it's not true. And then all of a sudden, my sound started going away, and I couldn't hear the traffic anymore, and I was deaf. And it gave me a bit of appreciation too for sight and hearing and all this stuff. It gave me a lot of like, I guess I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, I need to hear what's going on. My sound came back too.
Okay.
There's been a couple moments like that in my life where I'm like, okay.
That's wild.
I'm done playing. And even then I thought I'll push it a bit more, and then I started going dizzy. Everything started going dizzy, like I'd spun around 100 times. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Okay. Yeah, I might go to church.
You know how you were talking about losing senses? I just had this, I just remembered this video I watched with this guy that did like a marathon with blindfolded.
Oh,
did you see that?
No, that's crazy.
So like, he's been guided obviously, but it would be torture. Like not knowing where you are. And I remember I watched the video when he finished, he was like fucked from running, but he took his blindfold off, and it must have been so bright. He just bawled his eyes out, like sobbed, bro, for 10 minutes. Just being grateful, I guess, for that. And I guess a lot of people in life, they forget how lucky they are.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. That's why gratitude list is so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. I've only recently done it in the last month again in my life. And now that I'm working with lads here, we're driving to work. We have an hour commute.
Yeah.
And I'm usually driving by myself every day. So now I get in the car every morning, I say 10 things you're grateful for. And we just go back and forth. And it's like, I'm grateful that we get to get coffee. You know what I mean? And they're very
so it's
easy.
like a smoko chat.
Yeah. And then we'll go back and forth. And then one of us will be like, I'm grateful for girls, bro. You know, it just starts simple. It doesn't need to be this crazy thing sometimes, you know.
For all the tradies out there, cut the bullshit. Do a gratitude list at Smoko.
Yeah.
It's time to get honest.
Yeah.
That's
and it's good for me because it's on the way to work, and I'm like, I've been up for an hour and a bit.
Yeah.
And he's my coworker's just waking up. So he's like, oh, bro, he's been up for 2 minutes in the car. 10 things you're grateful for. He's like, oh, come on, bro. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to get too. I wanted to quickly go back because you did mention the people thing too, and kind of changing the people in your life. And I think I really wanted to emphasize on this point too because I wrestled for it for a while, so I reckon someone else might be wrestling with it as well.
Yeah,
is that you don't actually have to cut anyone out of your life in order to be better. You don't have to. But I do think that the better you want to be, you'll find that you'll want to stop hanging out with those people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think I had a lot of guilt for a long time thinking, but I don't want to cut them out. Like I love these people. They've always, it didn't matter if they were in my world for drugs or if they were in my world for getting up to mischief or what they were in my life for. I think to myself, like, they're still good people. I want to be able to call them, FaceTime them, see what's happening.
Yeah.
You will still be able to do that, and I'll always be able to do that. But my wants have just changed. Just like when I was a kid, I don't want to be spending my time playing PlayStation 2 anymore. Because the new best thing came out, the Xbox 360. You know what I mean? Bro. It's like, it doesn't mean the PlayStation wasn't still great. And it's always there. If you ever want to play with it, you know?
I had this moment over the last, so it was a few days ago at my sister's birthday. With the people thing, I've been struggling with a bit of conflict, okay? And it was weird. A few things lined up one after the other for me to have this moment. And so these people in my close family, you know, there was a bit of a disrespect thing happened. And I've spent ages just fighting it in my mind because I have standards and I set boundaries and I'm like, you know, other family members are still associating with them. And I'm just like, I fought this battle for so long. And I realized, like, I had this moment where I started letting it go. And I heard someone say, you will level up when you let it go. Like, and I was like, oh, yeah, I let it go a little bit, but I didn't understand it. I was still like, oh, you know, there's a boundary set and rah, rah, rah. I'll avoid them if I have to. And then I had this moment where I was like, I don't need to change anyone to have my understanding. They don't need to show respect like I do. You know, I'll still love them. But the thing is, I'm aware of all this and they're not. Mm-hmm. And to gain my power back, I don't even need to explain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I stopped fighting it, bro.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm aware of it. I don't need them to be aware of it. As long as I'm aware of it,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a level above, you know, where I would be trying to fight it. And I just let it go. And I was at dinner and I just was in the moment. And my sister even said to me, because I was trying to plant seeds with her, and I was like, you know, what do you want in 4 years? Like, if you don't start now, in 4 years' time, you'll be just starting. You know, it'll be a waste of 4 years. And she goes, Zach, like, because I was in addiction my whole life. She goes, I've been fighting my whole life. I'm finally content. She's like, I just want to be content for a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, I see you, I hear you, I watch you, like, I feel you, like, you don't need to tell me. I fucking see it. She's like, I get it. But right now, the war's over for me, you know? Like, or it's still going in a way with our other brother, but she's like, I'm just content now. Like, I can finally be at peace a little bit. And she's like, I'm just happy to be here, eh?
Yeah.
And I just had that moment where I'm like, I don't need to change people. I don't need to force it. I don't need them to understand. I just need to be there.
Yeah.
That lighthouse figure, you know?
I came to such a similar realization recently, and I was always battling the idea that you can't help anyone that doesn't want to help themselves.
Yeah, bro.
And it's like, everyone knows it, but I just don't like it, so I don't believe it. Like, I'm not. To me, that just sounds like a giving up answer for something, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to figure out how, and I've always been trying to plant the seeds and how do I push my even family members, let alone my friends, to do things. And I realized you can help someone that doesn't want to help themselves, but it's by leading by example.
Yeah, bro.
It's not by telling them how to do it. You can't even show someone how to do it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And then you'll inspire other people to do it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just talking about your story, being vulnerable, but actually living by your words and being in alignment by doing what you say and saying what you do.
Yeah.
Then finally people, because I'm not me because someone told me to be me. I'm me because I've seen people be them, and I'm like, I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, bro.
You know, and that's how I became better.
Yeah.
Not because any teacher told me what to do, or my parents grounded me, or because the police said don't do it. Like, not even because my boss says show up early. That's not why I show up early. You know what I mean? I show up early because I see how productive people can be when they show up early. You know, so how can I think I'm ever going to tell someone how to be better? So by being the best version of yourself, you're actually helping other people, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? It's like selfishly, I'm being selfless.
Yeah.
It's like the most selfless thing you can do is work on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually said this thing in one of my bits of content. I can't remember. It was about being selfish. Selfish is actually being selfless because you're finally putting yourself first and working on yourself, growing. And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like people pleasing. I was talking about this in one of my partner's content the other day. We did our first podcast. It'll come out in the next week or two. But we talked about...
There'll be a link in the description. There'll be a link in the description.
Yeah, let's go. But yeah, we talked about people pleasing. And it happens in relationships, friendships. All my life, until I started working on myself and loving myself, I wasn't worthy. You know, I did whatever I had to do to keep people close. And I would forgive them for I forgave an ex. She cheated on me, came and fucking bragged about it. She's like, oh, I just fucked this guy. And I was like, heartbroken, bro. And I made up a validated excuse in my head and begged her to stay.
Yeah.
How fucking bad is that?
And to be honest, bro, that's a very, very common thing, bro.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
and now I've done the work myself. I've come so far, and I see so much of it everywhere, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm like, they're codependent. He's scared of losing her. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, it's weird because it's like people pleasing. It's in some way it's actually a good thing, but it's the description of people pleasing is the description for it being too far. You know what I mean? Like when we say people pleasing, we're talking about never standing up for yourself. You know what I mean? Always doing what someone else expects you to do. But you can't be too far on the other side either and not care about what other people want you to do. It's another balance thing that you have to learn to do.
Yeah.
So it's not like you were on the wrong train of thought when you were thinking yourself like validating an excuse. Because it is a healthy thing to be like, why did it happen? Have I been responsible? Have I done something wrong? But the balance is then to acknowledge that maybe it could have been some of your choices that led to it.
Yeah.
But then not letting it go down the same path again. And usually you just put a line in it and be like, I'm getting rid of that person. You know what I mean?
I love
but it's very similar. Everyone goes through a similar thing. It's not just with people cheating. Sometimes people please too much and some people just don't give a fuck about what other people think. It's very rare to find someone that can just have their foundation and then be willing to just offload bits of free. You know what I mean? I got an hour, I got 2 hours, I got extra love, extra kindness, extra money. But you still got to have your stability in the middle, you know? Yeah.
One of my mentors, he always says to me, what was your part in it? And because I'm always like, them. Never like what I've done. Even when I think I'm being honest with myself. And it even happened last night, bro. Me and Robin were in bed. And I didn't listen at the shops or something. She built a resentment against me. but like I wasn't I didn't like say sorry. That's what the problem was. And I just kept giving her reason after reason as why my way was the right way. Like, you know, she was wrong, I was right. And then I just remembered what my mentor said. And he's like, just listen, say sorry, and own it, you know? So I took all my strength, bro, and I just bottled it all up. And I was just like, I'm sorry, babe, you're right, you know? And I didn't even say anything else. I just listened. And it's crazy when you actually focus on listening. You actually hear them, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like going in one ear, out the other because you're in your head going, you're fucking wrong. Like, you listen, bro. You care. Like, you're actually there.
And then you understand.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Oh, it's great, dude.
Wow.
I had a big mental debate this week with someone, and I ended up calling him when I was going to pick up the laptop, and I was like, bro, you've pissed me off when you've said this. Like, that was not cool. I'm going to deal with it before I come home, but like, try not to build any resentment. But then when you just said like, what was your part to play? I'm even thinking to myself like, well, maybe if I was a better mate, he wouldn't say it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I have a bit to play. You know?
Yeah, bro.
There's always a bit to. It's always me. You know what I mean? That's the biggest conclusion at the end of the day. What can I do to prevent it? What did I do to allow it? You know?
How can I live differently next time over?
I had this topic at work. I remember I was working with this guy maybe a year ago, and he's complaining. He was a manager at a company I was associated with, and he was saying, it's bullshit, bro. I've had like 16-hour day, and then I do an 8-hour sleep, and then I do a 16-hour night shift, and then another 4 hours sleep. And I'm like, so what can we do about it? You know what I mean? And he's like, there's nothing we can do about it. I said, not with that attitude, there's not. Like, how can we fix your schedule, you know? And he's like, it's not me, it's these contractors on site, it's these subcontractors, it's the builders, it's this. I said, well, you know what? You're going to be stuck in your process forever. You know? Unless you can figure out a way to take accountability, then it's never going to change.
Mad topic I want to run by you. So my partner actually told me this. They talk about it in her community, her business. What you're not changing, you're choosing. It's fucking covers everything in life, bro. Like like that guy staying in the job he hates. He's choosing it. Like, stop whinging because you're choosing it, you know? Be honest. Like, come on.
Dude, even last night, I was seeing this guy, we were driving past and someone was sitting by themselves eating at a restaurant. Like, it was KFC or something like that. And I was like, I bet he's cold, because he was kind of like hunched over a bit, eating. And I was like, I feel bad for him if he's cold, you know?
Yeah.
And then someone else says, yeah, I feel bad for him, like eating alone. And it happened again at Movie World yesterday. There was a guy by himself, because they said, anyone by themselves? And he said, yeah. So then he goes up to the front of the line.
Yeah.
I said, that's crazy. He came here by himself. And my mate's like, I feel bad for him. I'm like, why would you feel bad for him? He's still choosing to come here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he could have not came here.
Yeah.
Like,
he's actually living.
He's choosing to be here. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not changing it, if you're choosing it, it's such a great quote.
Yeah, bro. And it's like, in my life, I chose addiction and going nowhere for 29 years. Oh, no, 17 years I was in addiction. I was 29 years old when I changed. And it's like, just from the moment I switched, like within a few months, I was on a podcast. Like a month after that, you're in my house, bro. Like, that's how quick your life can change if you fucking want something. Like, I went after what I want, and I have 4 jobs. I'm working fucking 2 disability jobs. I'm painting houses again. I'm on a job site, bro. And the other day I did 8 hours of that and then went 8 hours disability. Whilst in my downtime, I'm building my business, coaching business. And it's like, because I want something. I'm choosing that extra work. So when people are like, oh, you're only getting 4 hours sleep, like, you know, that must suck. Like, just don't do that much. I'm like, no, I want this.
Yeah.
You know,
don't feel bad for me.
Yeah. Like, you watch me win. Like, in another month, I'll be full-time with my business if all goes to plan, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm like, I love the work.
Yeah.
It's sick, bro.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for myself for getting up and going to work every morning, because I'm choosing to do it over not having money that day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Something
for
I've been
sure.
thinking about a lot lately, actually. I've been thinking about not wasting time feeling bad for things that don't need to be empathized for. And I've always been an empath. Like, if I see someone going through something, obviously I feel bad for them. If they're going through something challenging, or even, especially even from school days, someone was sitting by themselves. To this day, if I'm at TAFE and there's a kid by himself, that's who I'm having lunch with today.
Yep.
I don't want him sitting by himself. I do find that most of the time I'm annoying him. I try not to annoy him every day. You know?
That's why you have no one to sit with me.
No, I've got someone to sit with. I won't say who. Yeah. But yeah, I just think lately I've been thinking to myself, like, don't waste time feeling bad for someone if there's no need to feel bad for them, you know? Like the guy I seen last night having KFC by himself. Like, for some reason, nowadays, I'm not feeling bad for him. I'm open to the idea that he might be in a dark place, and then I'm there to support and be there. But don't jump the gun and don't start feeling bad for people who have no idea what they're going through. I'm wasting energy, and this guy's probably having a great day.
Yeah, like he's having a cheat day at KFC.
He's like, I earned this, you know.
He's like, I'm not telling my coach.
Yeah, and I'm like, this poor guy.
Yeah,
and
bro.
he's like, it's the best day of the month. Yeah.
For sure. So, I always hit people with deep questions.
Yeah. All right. I'm good with deep
So
questions.
I asked Ivy the same thing. I asked True God the same thing the other day. What's your purpose?
So I know a very generic answer. So I answered with the generic answer, and it's something that I heard on a podcast once, and it resonated. Mm-hmm. I learned recently the words resonated, not resignated.
Yep.
So I'm trying to say resonated more often. And that's, if you find something curious, give it a go. Mm-hmm. And if you find interest in it, do everything you can to be better at it.
Yeah.
Once you're good at it, spend all your time teaching someone else why it's interesting and why they should get good at it.
I love
and
that.
that's your purpose.
That's sick, bro.
And another generic answer is something that I think Jordan Peterson again helped me come to this conclusion, but so I'll give him a lot of the credit for it as well. But there's no difference between purpose and responsibility. We get confused that our responsibilities are not our purpose, and we're looking for something with more meaning. But then you have created your life around your responsibilities to give your life purpose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if you have kids, it's a responsibility, but it's also your purpose. You know, if you have a goal to become the best basketball player in the world, your responsibility is showing up every day and putting in more work than everyone else. So that's your purpose.
Yeah.
So the premise of it is, the heavier the rock, the more purpose you have, because it's your responsibility to pick up as heavy of an object as you can.
Yeah.
I want to support my mum, my grandparents, my sisters, my brothers, I want to be able to change the world. That's the biggest rock ever.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got the biggest responsibility ever,
Yeah.
and you've got the biggest purpose ever.
I love that, bro.
But for me, on a more personal sense, what my purpose is I believe so far, my purpose is to experience whatever life has chosen to give me. That's all I'm willing to go for at this point, you know. I'm not here to write the story. I'm here to watch it in front of me, you know.
And just live it.
Taste every flavor, smell every smell, see everything, hear everything, and say everything I can while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know, preach everything that I've come across.
Yeah.
But that means if I'm here to experience everything, I have to go through heartbreak, anxiety. I have to smell someone fart. I have to listen to people spit garbage.
Yeah, bro.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's helping me become more appreciative for the bad days and the challenges, because it's what my purpose is, to experience it, you know?
Yeah, going off that, I just had this thought that with me, my purpose is the same thing, and it's like what you've been through. Like you said, if you are good at basketball, you should be a coach. Like you teach people, that's the end result. And then you leave a legacy behind, sort of thing. So it's like, whatever struggles you've been through, that's actually a gift, and you need to share it, whether it's heartbreak, a win, anything you've been through at all, anything. It's your job to share that with someone. So if they're struggling, you can teach them. So I love that you said that, bro.
Yeah.
That's my purpose.
Yeah, bro. There's something so powerful in teaching. Teaching, like, I learned it a lot through my apprenticeship, going through apprentice to tradesman to having apprentices.
Yep.
It's actually teaching apprentices that's more educational than being taught by a tradesman.
Yep.
It's like you being a coach, you help other people, but you gain so much by helping other people. You learn to grow faster than you could possibly want to teach other people, you know?
Yep.
And the goal of being a good tradesman, which is the same as the goal of being a good teacher, is to teach your apprentice or your student or your client to be better than you, right?
Yeah.
But it's an oxymoron in the sense that it's impossible, because the more you teach them, the better you get, you know? So they'll never be able to catch up.
Yeah,
the goal is to make them catch up, you know? Which just sends you even further.
Yeah.
And yeah, the quote that I like using is, everyone knows the original part of the quote, which is, the more you learn, the more you earn. And I like to say, the more you teach, the more you'll reach.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool, bro.
Because you'll continue to go further and further.
Do you know what I reckon would be a sick thing about teaching? Is like, say you got an apprentice at work and there's like 5 tradesmen around him. It's like getting him to do it your way instead of their way.
Yeah, of course.
You're like, my way's the best, bro.
That's every tradesman's goal.
And you like watch closely and see what way he does it.
Yeah,
and if he does it your way out of the 5, you're like, that's a win.
Yeah, dude. Every good tradesman, when they want to train an apprentice, they're like, forget everything you've been taught before me. Anything you hear after me is useless.
Yeah. Everything old mate just told you over there, fucking bullshit.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, watch this, bro.
Yeah, that's the goal of every good tradesman.
Yeah, bro.
Too much ego in construction, bro. Yeah.
So another thing I wanted to talk about, when I started discovering myself and learn about who I am, it's like I asked myself if I was proud. My whole life, people would say, oh, you must be proud of that. You must, you know, you've done really well over whatever I did. And I could try and tell myself I was proud, but I would never believe it. I was never honest. Like, yes, I'm proud, and I believed it with every bit inside me. But these days are different. Like, there might be something I could improve, but at the end of the day, I can say I'm proud because I've worked hard at what I'm trying to achieve, like a good thing, a positive thing in life. So right now, like, if someone said, are you proud? Like, have you come far enough to be proud? Do you reckon?
I lean on my pride a lot now instead of, I have, and everyone knows me in my personal life outside of content, has known I'm very delusional, and I've always been delusional, and that's in the sense that I can believe I can achieve anything without any proof, right? But proud is proof. I think they're the same word. We just use them to describe differently. You know? And now I'm not leaning on delusion as much as I am leaning on the things I'm proud of. Like I'm proud that I've become as far as I have in my journey of sobriety. You know, it's like I'm at 2 years, 6 months, and like 10 days or something.
Yeah, that's solid, bro.
And it's like I didn't know I could achieve a year. You know, I leaned on the delusional aspect of I can do it, I can do it. But there was still a lot of doubt. Like I hope I can do it, you know. But now it's like I proved I can do it. And when I started, it was like, oh man, I hope I make at least 10 episodes, 10 weeks in a row. But now it's like, bitch, I've done 140. You know what I mean? I am consistent. You know?
100%, bro.
Yeah. So it is something that I've definitely learned over time, something to be proud of. Like, it wasn't something I always had, but yeah. And on that note, I think proud is a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that proud should actually be the feeling that we should be chasing above any other feeling. Like, people are aiming to feel happy, and it's like it's a waste of time aiming to feel happy. People should be spending their time trying to feel proud, because trying to be happy my whole life didn't get me nowhere. But now that I have some things I'm proud of, I'm going so much further than I've gone, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't matter what the challenge is now. Like, the challenge might be like, I want to be able to accomplish this. And it's like, oh, do I really think I can do it? Well, look how consistent you've been with the gym. That's something to be proud of.
Yep.
Of course you're going to be able to do that too, you know?
Yeah.
So,
you know what I reckon proud is? Also, is no regrets. Like, every time I went to say, am I proud? I'd think about what I could have done differently, or how I've been lazy, or, you know, haven't been actually trying as hard as I could be. So I think proud could mean having no regrets.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
If there's something you can improve on, but you know you've done the work, that's not a regret. That's just an improvement you need to make.
Yeah.
So you can still say you're proud, honestly, and feel it, like, deep down. But if there's something you regret, or, like, you know, if you've wasted time during the day or doubted something, you know, that's different.
I always catch myself on Instagram now scrolling through, like, and it's like, that's, to be honest, it's like, you're definitely right, because that's the one time in the day where I'm like, I'm not proud of that. You know, I wasted 45 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, bro. Me and Robin, my partner, we talk about doom scrolling. Yeah. And then, bro, the other day, she's setting up her calendar on her phone, like a schedule, and she goes, oh, babe, I'm setting one on my lunch break. That's my doom scroll time. Yeah. Important. So often we're like just doom scroll all day. But what I started doing differently is I use my time doom scrolling to connect and network. So I actually use it for productivity, bro, with my business, with my relationships. And it's not, at first, like with successful people, I'm like, you know, do I feel like I'm being needy or pushy, or do I feel like I'm being a fangirl? And what it is, like Sean French explained it on one of his episodes. If you meet a successful person, as long as they see value in you, it's okay to feel needy, because at the start of a relationship, it almost has to feel that way for it to grow, for you to build a foundation of strength. And it really related to me and sunk in, because I was like, with him, it's been that way. Even if I don't get a reply, I send him a quick voice note and just update him on my life. And like Rudy, I think, told me when he talks to Wes Watson, it's very short and sharp, but it's value. When he's like, people on a high level, they don't want to hear about you know, what you had for lunch. They want to hear something inspiring, like that you've worked hard, or you've had a learning curve, or you've got a lesson, because they get advice from it too. Yeah. Even if they're way above you, everyone thinks differently, lives differently, acts differently, and like learns differently. So it's like, no matter where you're at in life, there's value in what you overcome. And I love that with Sean and just people that see value in me, because it's like, I can teach them and help them, you know, they see what my potential is. Yeah, 100%. It's cool.
But I've noticed by doing the podcast that it's like every single person has so much stuff for me to learn from. Yeah. Every walk of life, like especially doing my friends in the beginning. Like I had these dreams and aspirations. Oh, I'll buy 5 podcasts. I should have Chilling It on. You know what I mean? By episode 10, I'll probably have a Spaniard on. Yeah. And then by probably episode 30, I'll be sitting down with the Prime Minister. You know? That's what I'm full thinking. And then, obviously it didn't work out that way. So I'm
Yeah.
just still mate after mate.
Yeah.
And then my mates would come over and in the first couple of episodes, I thought, bro, I didn't know that about you. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, good work, you know? And I was getting inspired by everyone.
Do you find now that looking back, like last week you had that, the dude that came out of prison with the red paper clip.
Yeah. Shout out to
like,
Chris Olchin.
Yeah. Bro, I watched that reel and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was just, we had this conversation before the podcast about networking, and it's sometimes you don't even need money, you just need connections and a product. Mm-hmm. And you sell the product in exchange for money. That's what I saw out of that. And I was thinking to myself, I've got this coaching program. I could sell that instead of money to get other programs or other help I need, like business structures or any program. And I'm like, fuck, that's so mad, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it just goes to show the power of connection. And your circle, like.
Definitely. Well, who you know is everything. And there's a quote like in work, which is, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah,
and that's in
it.
life in general.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's as a service technician, doesn't matter what breakdown you're looking at in front of you, call people. They'll know. They've done it before,
Yeah, for sure, bro.
And another one of that is network is net worth. 100%. It's got nothing to do with how much money you got in your bank account. It's who have you got in your contact list.
Yeah, bro. That's power.
Power
of the people, bro.
Yeah. And we're going to ask something because you were going to say with people that you've had on the podcast before, and that's when you thought of the red paper clip, or was that the point you were like, was it about the network?
Yeah, and also, do you look back at like them types of people and all walks of life, and are you just like amazed at the amount of different sorts of people that all have success in different ways, like come on your show? I
know this isn't the answer to the question you're asking, but it's something similar. It's the one thing that amazes me the most about the episodes I've already filmed is that everyone who has come on and said they're going to do something did it.
Yep.
Like everyone, and it's like I see it with my own self too. If I'm watching back on my episodes, I'm thinking to myself like, and it's as crazy as the fact that I had a mate's funeral in January who I'd done an episode with in episode 30 or something, right?
Yeah.
And in our episode, he talked about the fact that he didn't expect to live a long time and he wants to, live a short, fun, happy life kind of thing, you know what I mean? And it's like, man, everything's coming true. Whatever people talk about and manifest, they do it subconsciously. I had a mate come on who was like a stepfather. And for some reason, I was like, why is this so fascinating to me? I need to know more about it.
Yeah.
6 months later, I'm dating a girl that had a kid, and it was like, oh, this was the prepreparation I needed for this relationship. Like, I'm watching timelines unfold here. It's crazy. So it is awesome to see like that everyone has success in different ways. However, I started when I was 24. I'm turning 27. So at the age of 24, most of the people around me were around the age of 21 to 26.
Yep.
And no one really had achieved greatness in my community yet. But I noticed everyone was about to, which was a really cool thing to witness. I thought to myself like, oh, it's going to be so good one day to sit down with a superstar, like a singer or a fighter or a musician or even like a lawyer or something like that, right? But then I realized by doing the podcast that like I know a really good trained paramedic. He's in his process of becoming a great paramedic. And then I know a girl who's recently just graduated law and got like ducks, whatever you call it, like past number one out of everyone. And I realized like I know kids that are up and coming MMA fighters, and I'm like, man, I'm in the origin stories. Like this is even better. You know? Like it's cool to meet people that have achieved greatness, but I think it's even better to be a part of the origin story. You know, which is like
people
that's
about
what's crazy.
to.
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah. And I was like, man, like my circle is pretty dope. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, bro, what my biggest experience with you is so far. It's not even today. It's like my first ever podcast was with you. Yeah. So, bro, if I'm in Florida, in America one day, like my goal is to eventually be on Sean French's podcast.
Mad
It's number 9 in the world today. We have a little thing going on. I've got to work my way up. but it's an opportunity already there. All I got to do is get there.
Yeah.
And so that's a goal for me. But when I'm there, I will probably talk about where I started, and it'll be a conversation about you, bro. You know what I mean?
You sick guy.
And that's like all walks of life.
Yeah.
You've seen it all. You're in that experience with them, bro.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful.
And that's just so cool, bro. And it's, like, it's weird because it's like everyone has a dream and aspiration in the beginning who wants to be a host of a podcast, to sit down with guests, to interview the biggest people in the world. But the coolest part about doing this was realizing that they're no different than anyone else.
Yeah.
And instead of hearing about how the story was done, let's hear how the story's gonna get done.
Yeah, that's
and like,
right.
It's like, fuck, bro.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Let me come with you. You know what I mean? Let me watch this.
For sure. I love how you said, how's it going to get done, right? So before we came onto this, I had a few things in mind. And I remember the other day, I don't know the backstory behind it or what the plan was, but you were talking about going to do something when you get back after Thailand.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said you're going to get to a meeting. Mm-hmm. So tell us about that.
Yeah, okay. So the point of the meeting was I am not familiar with the world. So when I went through my journey of sobriety, I didn't have anyone around me who'd ever done it before. And I didn't really know there even was meetings or NAs or recoveries or I've heard of the term rehab, but I didn't know anyone that's been to it.
Yeah.
And now if you're doing the podcast, I've constantly just met inspiring people who are on the same path, like yourself. Like I just recently did this guy, Josh, which is the episode that in our time's going to come out tomorrow.
Yep.
But for everyone listening, it was last week's episode. Then I did Michael Lappin, Alex Milovanov. I did, there's been a boatload of people who are in recovery and they constantly just give me tips and tricks like sayings and quotes. And I heard my favorite one so far is one's too many, 1,000's not enough. And I hear it and I'm like, bro, they hear me, bro. They hear me.
Yeah, bro.
There's people out there that experience what I experience. Yeah. And the reason why I want to get to a meeting is one of two reasons. Is one, I have noticed in myself the urge to use more lately than I have ever before, which by no means I'm going to do it. I'm going to continue my journey, but I would like some assistance and more tips and more information to make it easier.
Yep.
And the second one is I've reached a position which I didn't expect where people are actually reaching out to me and one, appreciating my sobriety, but two, talking to me about theirs. And these are people that haven't been guests and they're not even asking to be guests. They're just people like, bro, I'm inspired by what we've done. It's cool. And there's even people now that I'm having active phone calls with, helping them stay sober. And when they relapse, they'll reach out. Bro, I fucked up today. And it's like, that's all right, bro. Like, let's just, pick it up again. Don't beat yourself up. But why? People, I'm learning the things I've learned from the other boys. People, places, things. Let's make a structure for tomorrow. And I'm just repeating back the same information I've learned. And now it's like, I feel like I have this bit of a weight on my shoulder in a way where I'm grateful for it. But I don't feel equipped enough because I don't even know how I've done it. Like I've just secluded myself in my room and just fucking locked into podcasting. It's the only reason I've been able to be sober. But yeah, so I want to go to a meeting to help me deal with the whatever life's been doing to me lately that's making me feel like using, and two, actually be able to help people more because I'm helping people, but I don't feel like I'm credible. You know?
So I want to tell you one quote. You may or may not have heard it. Whatever you put before your recovery, you will lose. So it's like with me, if I put time with the family over a meeting and I do that repetitively, I'll lose my family because I'll relapse because I didn't put my recovery first. I'll lose my business. I'll lose everything. I'll lose this house because my recovery came second. I didn't have anything before I got clean. And now that I'm clean, I've got everything. So one thing people do is they stop putting recovery first. And then they relapse. They lose everything again. And it's just a cycle. So like when you see in meetings, bro, one example is everyone that stops coming to meetings goes back out. They think they've got it under control. They're in denial again. And they don't see the importance of a meeting. Like when you're at a meeting, you see people come for the first time, you remember where you came from. And also there's like older, cleaner members that hear the one-liners, the quotes, and you're like, fuck, that's what I'm here for. It's to hear the message. and it's the only place you can hear the message is at a meeting.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I heard, I may or may not have told you this. I heard this mad one too. You've got 2 lives. The second one is the most important because it's then you realize you've only got 1 left.
Yeah, I've heard a variation of it. I've heard a variation of it.
It's cool, bro. Yeah.
The variation I heard was you're born, you have 2 lives. The second one starts when you realize you have 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few different versions.
Yeah, which is fucking awesome, bro. and again, like I am excited to experience it. I'm gonna try and prioritize it, and it's easy to make excuses to be like, oh, but I don't have that much time. Like I don't have this, I don't have that. But I've been going to church every Sunday this year.
Yeah.
I fucking don't have time for that. You know what I mean?
It's non-negotiable.
The non-negotiable.
Maybe make it a non-negotiable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, I just have to figure out where to start looking. You know, maybe I'll just Google it.
I Googled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's pretty massive.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised.
I think I will too.
And then what I did is I went to a few to find my people. Mm-hmm. And then even in the circle, you've got your own circle. Like you weed out the ones that live by the book. They don't actually do the program. You have to find your people you click with, you know, like you do in life.
Yeah.
But stick with the strength. That's what I get told. Mm-hmm. You'll see people that have a strong program. They don't just talk shit. They do the step work. They have a sponsor. There's a thing called 5 suggested things you'll learn about, and it's just the strength, bro. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try and get advice off someone that's 1 day clean. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's like me and my mate. We say I'm not taking PT advice from a fat PT.
100%, bro.
Yeah. But I'm definitely excited for it, bro. I'm definitely excited for it because it's like, and to be honest, I don't even know what it is that I'm searching for. I just know that it's a good place to start looking, you know. Yeah. But I'm just gonna. Until then, and it's going to be difficult. I'm going to Thailand in like 5 days or something like that.
That's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard, especially considering like 70 hours out of it is tattoo time.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to be pretty pissed off.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
For sure, bro.
But I'm just going to... One thing I really look forward to, and it helps me through these moments, is a variation of it is get your head on the pillow. You know, I've heard that a lot from the boys. Just get your head on the pillow for tonight. And I use the same analogy to myself, but it's more like, this will be over shortly. Yeah. This too shall pass is one of my favorite quotes. So it's like, if I'm going there and I've got 70 hours of tattoos and I know that it's going to be hard to stay sober, going out, not being intoxicated while I'm getting the tattoos, dealing with all this head noise, all this stuff, then it's like, but I'll be home in 5 days. I can get there. I'll get there. Yeah. And then I'll deal with it there.
So that's what you're going for, just the tattoos?
Yeah, I've booked like I've got my night there with no accommodation because I like to go there, no backpack, no nothing, just a phone and a passport. And I'll just have no accommodation for 24 hours. So I'll go out all night, find some stuff to do. And then I've got 2 days where I'm linking up with a couple of different people that are going in and out. I know people there. And then I've got like 7 days of tattoos in a row.
Fuck. Yeah. Where are you getting, like sleeves?
I'm going to do for pretty much whole foot, whole right leg. And then I want to do my pelvis area, fill that in. And then if I have the time, I might fill in my neck as well.
Do you numb it up?
No.
Fuck
raw
that.
dog it. Raw dog it.
Fuck that, bro.
And I'm tempting. I'm not sure if I'll do it yet, but I'm thinking about doing a double session on 2 of the days where I do 10 hours in one studio, 10 hours in another, and then just have 2 crazy days.
You must have a good pain threshold.
It's okay. Don't get me wrong, it sucks. I'm not going to pretend like I want to love it. Yeah. But getting through that, fuck, it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
When it's done, you're like, I did that.
Fucking oath, bro. So, like, one thing that came to mind is, a few different things came to mind. One thing is, like, until you figure out sort of, like, I'm no expert in life, but this is from my own experience. When you're trying to figure out what you want in life, the best thing you can do is just work on yourself, like grow as an individual, and then you'll get your ideas. It'll just come in its own time. But until then, it's like raising your standards, your morals, your values. And in what I do as my coach is we work on being a high value asset and a man with high values, which is like you know, the standards you live by each day, how much work you put in, your non-negotiables, your daily habits. And when I'm doing that, bro, everything just aligns. It's like you feel like you work out how strong you are mentally, physically, you break yourself. And also in a book is like, I read the most successful people in the world handle a bigger workload. And that's what I've done in my recovery is I've just handled more than most people can. And people look at me and they're like, he's holding on to too much weight. He's going to crash and burn. But they don't feel what I feel. I actually fucking got powerful from it. And I'm like, I want more. Like, what's next? And then I got mentally stronger, not physically. And like someone told me, they're like, you're actually probably cleaner than what people realize for your time. You know, it's probably a bad thing to say because someone might, I don't care what people say. They might hear this and be like, you're only fucking half a year clean. Like, what do you know? And it's like, look at what I've done because I've fucking done the work.
Yeah.
And you can't take that from me.
Yeah, exactly right.
But because I did that, I learnt more than what most do. I grew more than what most do. And now I'm above where most people would be at 6 months.
And and then you just dream bigger. You have more.
Yeah, bro.
You have more aspiration. And to go on that topic, like I find that the best thing you can do is to work on yourself. There's no bigger proof in the pudding than that.
Yeah.
And it's not just so you can become a better version of yourself. It's also just, it's like I see any situation like a rock, right? And the choice in front of you is the pond. And you're going to throw the rock at a positive ripple or a negative ripple.
Yeah.
And by making one decision for yourself, you start a ripple effect.
Yeah.
But if you keep scrolling on your phone, you've thrown it in the negative one.
Yeah,
Every moment is a rock.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should get up early. Your alarm's going off. Get up. Do you get up and continue that ripple, or do you hit snooze and throw it in the fucking shit end of the pool? You know, and it's always going to be like that. And I found even with myself, even if I was going through something like in my personal life that would have been like a breakup or something like that, right? It's like, right, I know the basics. I need to just go to the gym tomorrow and have a healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
Wake up early, like just start really simple, doing things for myself that is super simple. And it's not just that you start to find more purpose and you go out there and you experience life, more good things come, high frequencies, but you also like forget the problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
When you're not dwelling on anything that's bad and you're just working on yourself, you're like, you forget it to the point when you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Like who cares? You know?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Do you reckon, like one thing that came to mind is every coach has a coach. Every successful people has a coach. So do you reckon accountability could be, you know, keeping you at a steady track instead of one that's skyrocketing? Like,
yeah, I think I'm pretty accountable, and I do find that everyone successful that I'm sitting down with, they have a coach in some form or another. Yeah. Like even if they're a fighter, they've got a trainer.
Yeah.
You know, every great person in the ring has a greater person in the corner.
Yeah.
So it's no obvious answer, no less of an obvious answer to me that why every successful business person I meet and tells me they have a coach, and then their coach has a coach, and then their coach has a coach.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, and I've only recently become aware of coaches. I swear to God, 6 months ago I heard of it. And I was like, what the fuck? Everyone's got a coach.
Everyone, bro. Like, even like my mentor, he had the biggest guy in America, nearly 1 million followers, Wes Watson. And then from that, he didn't just stop. He got another coach. And now I'm in I've stopped one program. I'm going to do fitness and that. But now I'm looking for a business coach. And it's like, if I just try and do it all on my own, I'm not teachable. I stop learning, I stop growing, so I'll stay stuck. So it's like, you know, be honest with yourself. You only know what you know. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
You're only going to go as far as however much you learn, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got my fitness side sorted out with my coach. But now I'm like, you know, I need to learn about how to scale from when I launched my program from 5 clients to 500 so I can let it work for me. And then I can just do like seminars or, you know, still have a personal touch, but I'm not working on my phone with individually. Like
Yeah.
it might go from individual to group calls, and then from there seminars. Like that's the aim.
Yeah, of course,
know?
of course. I think that everyone has to have a coach or a mentor or it's almost like a belief at the end of the day. You have to have you have to have something higher than yourself to lean on, and you can use it in multiple. You can have a PT. You can also have God. You can also have a tradesman.
Yeah.
You can have a parent. You can have you can have many of these things that's happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
We won't wrap it up just yet, but to save the cameras, we'll keep it from being too long.
Yeah, bro. So like, apart from I guess you're gonna start doing content like you said, living people's experiences. What other goals do you have, like family wise, partner wise, kid wise?
Great question, bro. Great question. So I've always told myself I wanted to be a dad. I've known I wanted to be a dad since I was about 14. It's always been pretty high on my priority list. I got to a point where I was like, I'm just willing to have, and I always knew I wanted to have at least 6 kids.
Yeah.
If I can have 6 boys, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
As many girls as it takes, I'm going with 6 boys. So then I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm getting a bit older now. Maybe I'll just start having kids with whoever comes along next. I'll have a couple kids here, a couple kids there, a couple kids there. And I was like, maybe there'll be about 6 or 7 different baby mamas. My experience so far has taught me not every girl that I've met so far has been the right girl. Right? So when it comes to having a family, one day I would like to find a beautiful woman who will give me as many kids as she's willing to give me.
Yeah.
I want to have 6 boys, but she's willing to give me 3, and that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, bro. I always wanted a boy too, to teach him to be like me, I guess, and be the dad I never had. For now, it's with girls. It's not what I chose; it's what was meant for me, and then I chose it, obviously, but I didn't go looking for it. Robin had 2 girls, and I never even pictured being a stepdad. That's the way it worked out, and it's beautiful. But the thing with Robin's family, I can't remember how long it's been. There's been generations on generations where there's been about 1 boy out of like 50 or whatever the number is, girls.
Oh, wow.
So my goal is to change that.
That's a great goal, dude.
Bro.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
So like I'll be going to the doctor and I won't just be asking what times it's best to, make the baby.
Yeah.
I'll be like, how do I make a boy? Like, is it positions? Is it food? Like, is it times of the day? Like,
you warm yourself up first, and then you aim north. Right? You do that, and you have a
I'll be
boy.
like, what angle do I need to hit to make a fucking boy?
That's exactly right. I'm with you. I'm with you. But outside of family, there's obviously many goals I'd like to be able to accomplish.
Yeah.
I'm working on something at the moment where I'm trying to plan my escape for 3 years from now. I've started another apprenticeship, so by the time this is over, I would like to be able to have enough passive income to be able to transition into content full time without taking the pay cut.
Yeah.
And from then on, I've still got plans of going to university. There's plenty of things I need to do on my list.
Yeah.
I just need to, for now, the small object in front of me is get through this apprenticeship.
Yep.
Get through that, then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good,
So you need to learn how to monetize it, eh?
Yeah.
Whether it's your podcast or like your new venture, and just get sponsored, paid for trips where you promote it online. Like it's cool, bro. Being paid to make content, like what a dream. What a life, bro.
What a dream, bro.
That's a dream, man.
Yeah. I've known a lot of people now to be doing it, which is cool, which is super cool. So it's options now. You know what I mean?
Well, did you see the Inspired Unemployed? They did that Impractical Jokers.
Yeah.
And then they just released their overseas one, where they just do tours and random shit.
Yeah.
Like
they've killed it.
Yeah. I saw like
it.
a sneak peek of them playing naked fucking something.
Yeah.
It's like just random shit.
Champions, eh?
Yeah. But like that's what they've done. It's mad. I watched the Impractical Jokers. It was different to the normal one, the original, but they still made it their own.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, they killed it. They did mad.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, I got plenty of goals. At the moment, I'm just trying to work on things one day at a time, I guess. But like, I'm just trying to build the physique that I want, sculpt the canvas of me until I'm, mid-30s.
Yep.
And then from then on, at least I've got the frame, I've got the look, I've got everything that I want. That's a 10-year plan. 10-year plan, yeah.
Can I ask you, if you had the chance to make that 10-year plan, say I'm 1 year plan, you didn't know it was going to work out, but you had an opportunity to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Would you, thinking about it that way, would you work harder, do more, handle more, and just go like harder than ever before and break till you're broken to get it? Like, have you ever thought about that?
The theory. Off the top of my head, I would say I wouldn't do it because I'm trying to be the person I want to be in 10 years today. And in 10 years from today, I don't want to be breaking my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to do exactly what I'm doing today in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the way I looked at it before. Like, who do I want to be? And that's what I realized lately by journaling, who do I want to be? And I realized, like, well, it's just who I am with just bigger responsibilities and, you know what I mean? Bigger house and bigger car. And everything, you know? I'm pretty happy with the routine. Yeah.
For me personally, like, I completely understand what you mean. It's like you're living who you want to be now, like your morals, your standards. But on where I see it, for me, it's like what I've learned is you've got to be able to do more, to handle more, to get more quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not going to physically break myself in the gym, but stress-wise, I need more stress.
Yeah.
Because if I'm handling more stress, it means I've got more problems. I'm going to learn more, grow more. And that's like, what's going to get me ahead, quicker.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I didn't have the support in my life, I wouldn't do it. But like we were talking about before, the coaches, I've got about 6. I've got a recovery coach, probably 3 of them. And if one doesn't answer the phone, I'll ring the other one. And then even if I get a call back, I ask them the same shit. So I'm learning 3 different ways on one topic or one problem. And then I've got business mentors. Like, I don't pay them, they're not in my ear 24/7 or giving me the help I need, but they'll give me advice. And then I've got like few different fitness coaches, other people that want me to sign up to their program. And because I'm like, I can't, we just talk on a mate-to-mate level, and I'll ask them shit to help me learn. And because the respect's there, I get advice. And like, there's heaps of other, even Robin helps me like with my content or, ideas to grow my content and stuff like that. It's so cool having a partner on that level where you're thriving together, because we were talking about couple goals the other day. And even with our content, it's like holding yourself accountable and being honest, right? And we will make a reel, and before we post it, we're like, babe, look at this. And then after they watch the video, we'll be like, now read the caption. And we'll be like, is it good? Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes we'll like pick an error or a mistake that can be improved. And sometimes we'll improve it because we'll think, well, oh yeah, that could be, you're right. Other times I'll be like, fuck no, this is I don't need that. You know what I mean? But to have someone that critiques you and it's right there and then,
that's mad.
It's fucking mad, bro.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah. It's good to find someone to, even a gym partner in that sense, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's good to have someone to bounce ideas off to. And so many people, they're in relationships to people and they don't see eye to eye on the common goal.
Yeah.
They don't see them. So 2 people doing their own individual, and to be honest, they're clashing. They're clashing worlds. The schedules aren't lining up properly. Why are you doing this? Spending too much time doing that. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, especially in the gym, like you just said. I listen to music and it gets boring so quickly. Or if one song comes on that's not bang, like I'll get unmotivated.
Yeah.
So, and on my own, I don't have a spotter. I don't have someone to motivate me. And so it's the biggest difference having a partner, right?
Yeah, massive.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
massive.
fucking sick.
Yeah, it's sick. Oh, we'll get towards the end of the episode, Zach.
Yeah.
I don't want to, believe me.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have at least another hour and a half. But because the cameras need more time to charge these fucking stupid things, all right, we'll get towards the end of the episode.
Yeah,
but
cool, bro.
We'll, is there anything else that you've really been thinking about lately or was curious about or something you want to discuss before we do wrap it up?
I think everything that was in my head we've discussed in one way or another.
Yeah, good.
You know?
Good.
I just want to see you win, bro.
Yeah, champion.
You know, and like just quickly, I just appreciate you as a person. Like we spoke about it before, people, when you start getting successful, you find your gatekeepers, the ones that don't see you for you and value you. And bro, I'll never forget that. Even though we're here now, I got my first opportunity with you. You know, I don't know personally from what you know and what you think, what you saw in me, but you saw something. And I got the opportunity. I just can't thank you enough, brother.
Nah, you're a champion, bro.
Look at me now.
Yeah.
Running up round 2, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm in your seat, motherfucker.
Bro, I appreciate that. I'm trying to get better at handling compliments as the episodes go on. So I do really appreciate what you said. And to be honest, bro, I just seen someone who wants more, bro. And anyone who wants more, they're going to get more. To be honest,
Yeah.
and to be honest, I've seen the content. You're like, get the fuck up, you know. It's like, it's motivating, bro.
Yeah,
it's motivating, cool. And you've made a massive change in your life. A change that most people, unfortunately, will never make that change. You know what I mean? The act of sobriety is a big, or recovery is a big choice. It really is. It's a never-ending choice you have to make.
Yeah.
So if someone can choose to do that, bro, they can choose to do anything. So
yeah, big love, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. Champion.
Let's go.
Well, for everyone listening, thank you for making it to the end of episode 140. It was an amazing week this week. There'll be another one next week. That's all right.
Hey! First podcast done, baby!
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty going high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping.